Have you ever arrived somewhere and felt time itself just gently shift? A place where there's this quiet beauty in the air and history seems to whisper from the stones. Well, today we're taking a deep dive into exactly that kind of place. Saint Antoine-l'Abbey, who was just recently crowned Le Village Préféré des Français 2025. That's France's most beloved village for the coming year. So our mission here is to really unpack the layers, the history, the culture, the charm that led this, well, relatively quiet village in Isère in the Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes region to capture the heart of the whole nation. We've been looking at a special report on its victory, and we're pretty excited to discover its story with you.
Yeah, and what's really compelling right from the start, I think, is that this isn't just about, a pretty village. Saint Antoine-l'Abbey is this incredible mix of really profound history and resilience. The report actually calls it a living testament to faith, art, and that enduring human spirit.
A testament, right? And what a victory it was.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a nationwide competition. Think about all those stunning villages from Provence all the way to Alsace. Votes were cast, and boom, Saint Antoine-l'Abbey came out on top.
It seems like the immediate feeling you get when you arrive is a huge part of it. The report nails it, saying the rush of the modern world fades. You're just instantly surrounded by the sound of ancient bells, the murmur of history in the stones, that smell of old wood, maybe roses from a garden somewhere. It really suggests this deep sense of, well, sanctuary.
That rush fades idea. Yeah, that immediate calm must be key. But, I mean, France has loads of beautiful villages, right? Many official Club Beau villages. So what pushed this one over the top to become the most beloved? For me, looking at it, the sheer scale of the Abbey, that Gothic masterpiece, it's just breathtaking, but it feels part of the village, not separate. And then those medieval lanes, the ruelles and the covered passageways, you just want to get lost in them, don't you? But it's not just stone. The report talks about a really vibrant community of artisans keeping old crafts going, and maybe underlying it all, this palpable sense of peace, a legacy from the monks and pilgrims centuries ago.
And that's exactly it, isn't it? That's what makes a place truly beloved. It's more than just a village. It feels like a living, breathing sanctuary. History isn't locked away. It's right there, part of daily life. It just resonates differently. In fact, the village's whole story, its very existence, is tied up with this really fascinating religious and medical order, the Hospital Brothers of Saint Anthony, the Antonines.
Oh, right, the Antonines. And the origin story is, well, it's pure legend, almost. It starts way back, not even in France, but in Egypt, with St. Anthony the Great, 3rd century hermit, the father of Christian monasticism. And his relics, believed to have healing powers, were brought to this little village, La Motte-au-Blas, it was called then, around 1070. And then this awful disease swept through Europe, holy fire, or St. Anthony's fire. We know it now as ergotism, caused by fungus on rye, searing pain, hallucinations, gangrene, just horrific. So people flocked to the village, to the relics, desperate for a cure, and apparently many were healed. Miraculously.
It's an incredible beginning, really. And this flood of sick pilgrims, it wasn't just a problem to manage, it was the actual spark. It led directly to the founding of the Antonine Order in 1095. And they were pioneers, true hospitalers. They built this huge hospital complex. But importantly, they didn't just pray. They combined it with herbal medicine, which was pretty advanced thinking for the time. Their symbol, that Tau cross, the T-shape, it became instantly recognizable across Europe, a sign of safe haven, of Antonine care. It literally guided people to help.
Wow, that's amazing foresight. So the village, renamed Saint Antoine, it really boomed then. From the 13th to 15th centuries, became this major spiritual and medical hub with hundreds of hospitals all over Europe thanks to donations. What an impact.
A huge impact, yes. Of course, like many histories, it saw a decline, especially during the French Revolution. The order was dissolved, the abbey fell into disrepair. But then, in the 20th century, there was this big push, state-led, but also driven by passionate locals, to restore it. Painstaking work. So connecting back to what we said earlier, this legacy of healing, faith, this architectural ambition, it really is the foundation. It's the soul of the village. It's resilience.
Yeah, you can feel that. Walking through Saint Antoine-l'Abbey today must be like stepping into, I don't know, a living museum of medieval architecture.
Yeah.
Every corner seems to reveal something new, some incredible craftsmanship. And the absolute heart of it all has to be the Abbey Church. 13th to 15th centuries, flamboyant Gothic style, just spectacular.
Oh, absolutely. Stand outside, look up at that facade. The verticality is just striking. It's designed to pull your eyes and maybe your soul upwards. And the carvings, the Last Judgment, scenes from Christ's life, they're incredibly detailed, meant to teach and inspire back then.
And inside, you mentioned the breathtaking volume, the light through the stained glass.
Yeah.
That must create quite an atmosphere. Plus, a huge 17th century organ and wall paintings adds another whole layer.
It does. The sheer space gives you that sense of the divine, and the light through that old glass. It makes the air feel different, almost ethereal. Then there's the Abbey treasury, Le Trésor, in the old sacristy. That's where the really priceless stuff is. Ornate reliquaries, gold chalices, ivory crucifixes, these incredibly rich vestments. It shows you the immense wealth and devotion the Abbey once commanded.
And right near the abbey, these great stables, Les Grandes Écuries. Impressive 17th century building, originally for the abbot's guards' horses.
Yes, and what's great is how they use it now. That beautiful arcaded ground floor houses the departmental museum. It really brilliantly tells the story of the Abbey, the Antonines, what life was like in the medieval Dauphiné. Gives you all that essential context.
Right, context is key. And then beyond the abbey itself, there's the medieval village. La Grande Rue, the main street, with those preserved houses. Half-timbered fronts, mullioned windows. Exactly what you picture. When the report mentioned those narrow lanes, the ruelles, and covered passages like the Goulet de la Vierge, I just imagine getting happily lost, finding some hidden courtyard. Is that part of the charm? And you also see the old fortified gate, the Porte de Lyon. It reminds you it was once a walled sanctuary.
That sense of discovery is absolutely part of it. It's woven into the village layout. And while history is definitely the anchor here, the present day is really its soul. Saint-Antoine-l'Abbé isn't stuck in the past. It's a properly thriving community.
It sounds like it. A magnet for artists and artisans, you said. Studios and galleries in old buildings. Painters, ceramicists, leatherworkers. How does that work, though? This modern creativity in such an ancient, sacred space. Does it clash or blend?
It actually blends remarkably well. The old buildings offer inspiration, a unique setting, and you see it in the rhythm of daily life, too. The queue at the bakery in the morning, people chatting at a cafe, the pride people take in their flower boxes. There's this really tangible sense of community. People feel like custodians of this special place, which is both ancient and very much alive.
And that community feeling extends to visitors, too. The report mentioned the legacy of the hospitaller monks living on in the welcome people receive. Shopkeepers, restaurant owners, acting as ambassadors, eager to share tips and stories. That must make a huge difference.
A massive difference. That human connection really elevates the experience beyond just sightseeing. It's probably a big reason it won the most beloved title.
Exactly. That's the magic, isn't it? You can wander through the 14th century in the morning, then chat about contemporary art with a local painter in the afternoon, all in the same few streets. Right, and no trip to a French village is complete without talking about food.
Saint-Antoine-l'Abbé, being right there at the edge of the Vercors Mountains, it must offer a great taste of the Dauphiné region, a real feast for the senses, as they say.
Oh, definitely. So what are the absolute must-tries? Well, first up, walnuts. You're in walnut country. Specifically, Noix de Grenoble. It was the very first walnut to get an AOC, that protected status. Quality stuff. You'll find them fresh as oil, in amazing cakes, gâteaux aux noix, and even in a potent liqueur, vin noir.
A whole world of walnuts. Okay, what else?
Cheeses, of course. Look for Saint-Marcellin and Saint-Félicien. Small, soft, cow's milk cheeses, total local stars. Saint-Marcellin is a bit tangy, earthy. Saint-Félicien is richer, creamier, perfect with bread and wine, or sometimes you see them baked in croûte. Delicious. And then ravioli du Royan. Tiny, tiny little pasta pockets, not like Italian ravioli at all. They're filled with comté cheese, fromage blanc, parsley. Incredibly light, usually just poached quickly and served with butter and more cheese. Real regional comfort food. Good distinction, very important. And something stronger to finish.
Chartreuse?
Chartreuse, liqueur, exactly. Made by Carthusian monks nearby, world famous. Secret recipe, 130 herbs apparently. Two main types, green sweeter, 55% alcohol, and yellow more complex, 40%. Usually enjoyed as a digestive.
Sounds intense. So from the weekly market to cozy family restaurants, it really is a culinary journey that matches the history.
And those historic stones aren't just static. They come alive during the year with various festivals and events. Visiting then shows you the village at its most vibrant.
Ah, yes, the festivals. And the big one, the absolute must-see, is the Repas et Fêtes Médiévales, medieval feasts and festival. Midsummer, usually July or August. The whole village goes medieval.
The whole village. Streets full of troubadours, fire eaters, knights, ladies. You hear lutes, maybe swords clashing in a show fight, smell roasting meat. There are parades, craft markets, jousting, and these big medieval banquets, the repas. It's totally immersive, really unforgettable.
Sounds incredible. What about other events? Well, there's musique à l'abbaye, music at the Abbey during the summer. The Abbey Church itself becomes this amazing concert hall. The acoustics are sublime. They host sacred and classical music, often big names. Hearing, say, Bach or Gregorian chant echoing in there, it's quite profound, really connects you to the place's spiritual roots.
I can imagine. And for something different, the Marché de la Création, the artisans market, on various weekends.
Yeah, especially spring and summer. Great showcase of local handmade crafts. Perfect place to meet the artists, buy something unique.
And finally, Christmas, the Marché de Noël.
Oh, Christmas is magical there. The village looks like a fairy tale. Wooden chalet in the square, mulled wine, handcrafted gifts, and the Abbey all lit up at night. Really special.
So while the village itself is clearly captivating, it sounds like its location is also a huge plus, a great base camp for exploring the wider Isère region.
Absolutely. It's perfectly placed. Right nearby, you have the Vercors Regional Natural Park, a paradise for nature lovers, really. It's this dramatic limestone plateau, huge network of trails for hiking, biking through gorges, forests, pastures, and the driving. Roads like the Route des Gorges de la Borne or Combleval carved into cliffs, just spectacular, or maybe slightly terrifying views. Plus caves like the Grotte de Charanche with those super delicate stalactites that look like straws.
Wow. And other villages nearby, you mentioned Pont-Royal, with houses hanging off the cliffs.
That's the one, the Maisons Suspendues. Really striking, colorful houses seemingly glued to the rock face above the river. Definitely worth a detour.
And something totally different, Le Palais Idéal du Facteur Cheval, the postman's palace.
Oh, that place is astonishing. About a 30-minute drive, one of the world's best examples of outsider art. This postman, Ferdinand Cheval, spent 33 years collecting pebbles on his mail route and built this incredible, fantastical palace entirely from his imagination. It's surreal, kind of inspiring.
Unbelievable. And if you want a city fix, Grenoble isn't far, capital of the Alps.
Less than an hour. You can take the cable cars, the bubbles up to the Bastille Fortress. Amazing panoramic views of the city is surrounded by the Vercors, Chartreuse, and Belladone mountains.
So yeah, the whole area sounds compelling.
Yeah.
Mountains, quirky art, history.
Exactly. Lots to explore beyond the village walls.
Okay, so to really soak it all in, maybe a suggested itinerary. How about 3 days? Day 1, focus on the Abbey in the village heart. Morning, exploring the Abbey Church, then the Treasury. Lunch in the main square, just taking it all in. Afternoon, maybe the Departmental Museum for that historical context. Then just wander Grand Rue, find those covered passages, see the Porte de Lyon, dinner with local food, definitely the ravioles.
Sounds perfect for day 1, immersion.
Day 2, maybe art, nature, and high views. Morning, checking out the artisan studios and galleries. Chat with the artists, find a souvenir. Lunch could be a picnic. Grab a baguette, cheese, walnuts from a local shop. Then afternoon, scenic drive into the Vercors Park. Visit Pont-Royal. Find a spot with a view for that picnic. Evening back in Saint Antoine, relax with an aperitif, local wine, or that vin de Rouen.
Nice balance. Art, nature, local flavors. Good plan.
Day 3, markets and farewell. If it's market day, definitely delouse the stalls, walnuts, honey, cheese to take home. If not, maybe revisit a favorite spot or climb up to a viewpoint for a last photo, one final simple French lunch at a cafe, then head off, hopefully full of that peaceful spirit.
That sounds like a wonderful way to experience it. Now, just a few practical points for anyone planning a trip. Getting there. Airports are Lyon-Saint-Exupéry or Grenoble-Isère. You'll probably want a rental car to explore properly. Train-wise, Valence, TGV, or Grenoble are the main hubs. Then a regional train to Saint-Marcellin, which is about a 15-minute drive away. By car, it's easy off the A49 motorway exit Saint-Marcellin.
And accommodation. What are the options like?
Good range. Hotels de chambre, small, characterful hotels. Chambre d'hôte B&Bs, great for a personal touch. And Gîtes holiday rentals, good for families or longer stays. Definitely book ahead, though, especially for summer or festival times. It gets busy.
Right. And best time to visit.
Well, spring, May, June, is lovely, pleasant weather, green, fewer crowds. Summer, July, August, is warmest, liveliest with festivals, but peak season. Autumn, September, October, is beautiful with the colors, harvests, and fewer tourists again. Good for a quieter trip.
So being named the Village Préféré des Français, it's a huge honor, obviously. But hearing all this, it doesn't actually sound surprising. It feels like an affirmation of something you sense immediately when you're there. This place is special.
It really is. It's managed this perfect balance, hasn't it? Preserving this monumental past, but fostering a really vibrant present. It's a sanctuary of stone, but it feels so alive with spirit. That's rare.
Yeah. It won not just because it's incredibly beautiful, but because it has this profound soul. You feel that history of healing, of community. It's a piece of French history, a jewel of its present, and now, yeah, deservingly, the pride of its people.
And thinking about a place like Saint-Ouen-l'Abbé, with those deep roots in healing and community, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How do all those centuries of human experience, the joy, the suffering, the faith, the creativity, how does that actually imprint itself onto the stones, onto the very spirit of a place? And how does that deep resonance, that enduring essence, let me speak to our own search for meaning and connection today, something to think about.